Hey everyone. So in the past, we showed off clay.com, we showed off some out of the box scrapers. And so I'm going to show you my favorite workflow builder tool where if you want to automate things between softwares and you don't want to use code in order to do it, make.com is one of my favorite platforms to use in order to do this. Now, quickly, like people are like, well, why don't you use Zapier? And so the reason I don't use Zapier is because make.com, I have much more control over what I'm able to do between everything. And they basically all have the same integrations. For the most part, Zapier has a couple of things. Um, so I basically have more customization in make.com. And then for other people who are like, well, why don't you use a platform like N8N? I don't use N8N, N8N.com, like N, then the number 8, and then N.com if you want to look it up. I don't use that platform because it's a little bit too customizable for me, requires a little bit too much code. And like I've said in some of my other videos, you kind of have to have a point where you're like, okay, look, like this is all of the software that I'm going to learn. After it gets to a certain point, I'm going to offload it to somebody else. And make.com sometimes even gets to that point where you should probably offload this to somebody else. But so make.com, though, is a great place to quickly build workflows of things that say you wanted something to happen daily, an automated flow to happen daily. You want an automated flow to happen every time you like an action happens, or you just wanted to move data from one place to another without like manually doing it. Make.com does a really, really great job of that. And so when I first got started in outbound and my agency, I actually really couldn't find very good make.com resources. And I'm not even going to try to claim that I'm about to create a really great one. I'm going to try to explain the pitfalls that I fell into. And we're going to go over some examples so that you can see exactly how it happens and how it works. So that hopefully you'll be able to apply that going forward. Again, though, if you have ChatGPT Premium, $20 a month. Their web browsing is so good. If you just prompt and you just say like, how would you figure this out in make.com to connect this to that? And it goes out and it'll find support docs and it'll give you the answers back. So it's gotten a lot easier since then. Really like use ChatGPT to your full advantage to get this done. I am not a make.com expert. I just find it to be very, very helpful in my business. And I want others to be able to take advantage of it as well. And so with that intro, 2.5 minute intro, we're going to go over like the basics of make.com and the functionality of it. And so basically it's telling me click here because you get access to all of these different data integrations or workflow integrations inside of make.com. It's a gigantic, gigantic, gigantic list. And so you right here we have LinkedIn, which is really, really great. This is all really like you don't actually want to use a lot of these. You want only the compliant ones like LinkedIn lead gen forms. I don't even know what this one can do. Get follower statistics, make an API call, get a post, create posts. Okay, great. Like whatever. So you can like use some of these and then you're able to add things in. So one that I use all the time is like the Calendly one. And so if we were to just hit Calendly, right? And then we'll just hit watch events. So now it's going to say that it wants you to add a hook. Adding is super easy. So this is just my Calendly hook. It's connected to ericagrowthengine.com. This is the connection I want to add. Growth. And so now we would be good. Oh my gosh, I guess I have to sign in. I'm going to bring this someplace else. And so now I'm just going through a sign in flow. Okay, got that figured out. And so now we have this Calendly flow. So it's watching for events. So what this means is when a new event happens, it's constantly watching. And once that event comes, it's going to come in here. This is the equivalent of what's called a webhook that you might want to learn about in my video about how to read API docs and the difference between webhooks and things like that. So this is technically a webhook. And then what we can do is every time a new event comes in, we can do something with that. And so now we'll click add another module and we're going to hit Google. And so essentially, Google Sheets. And so now what we can do is every time a new event comes in, I can add a row to a Google Sheet. So we won't do it for that one. We'll do it for like this one. And so now I'm going to create a sheet very quickly. And basically I can say like event name, calendly test, event name, and time, right? And so we'll just plop that in. And so now what we can do is we can say, okay, great. So I'm going to map it to this calendly. Oh, it failed to load the data. I'm going to enter this manually. So the spreadsheet ID is just up here. Maybe not. Select by path. What's going on here? See, this is even why, like, hold on. Whoa, whoa. Click here to choose the file. Failed to load the data. Okay, so I got the spreadsheet ID to be calendly test. Literally, I just put in here calendly test, and then we were good to go. Sheet name, we're going to put sheet 1. Table contains headers, yes. And so now what we're able to do is we're able to map the values here. So if we come in, I can see everything that Calendly offers me that I can use. So we have cancel URL, created at, email, event, name, new invitee, blah, blah, blah. So for event name, that's going to be the actual event. And then for time, we're going to go into time, and then we're going to hit created at, because that's the time that I want. But if I don't want created at and I wanted like, when is the event? Let's see. So if you were to actually run this and get data, it is way easier to run this. But so anyway, let's just put time. Created at. Questions and answers. Great. Okay, whatever. So now what would happen is what we've set up is essentially now anytime a new Calendly event happens, it's going to add to this Google Sheet. And so if we were to like click run once, well, actually this isn't going to work. Hold on, pause. Well, and so while it was paused, it ran. And so then we get like test 1014 to 2023 gets loaded into the Google Sheet. It automatically adds the row. If you want to check, like we can run this. We could be like, event again. We could just hit test. And we could say like here, right? And you could hit OK. Right now, you know that that's running. Come in here and it does that. Right. And so, yeah, now I typed this in, so that's why it's different right there than what Calendly gave. But yeah, this is what it's going to be looking like. So what we're basically going to do is for the rest of this module course kind of thing, I'm going to go over real live make scenarios that we have so that you can see how I've used them, different things that come up, how I think about putting them together. And then there's going to be some that we're actually going to create. So keep on going through this module and learn how to use make.com as best as I can teach.